next slide I have here is leverage is having something small that controls something big. And AI in general is a tool of leverage, and you'll keep hearing me say this word. It's the same with AI image generation. Something that used to take hours, hundreds of hours, can now be done in seconds. And that's the same with text and code and all of these things. So it's a tool to save time, which is ultimately to save money. And that's why we're talking about income and money in this class as well, because they are related. Time is related to money. So we can save time. We can actually contribute more value in a lesser amount of time to different industries. So again, it's a form of leverage. This is the same picture, just kind of thinking of it a different way. Best way to control an army of people is to lead them. I believe that AI is these assistants as they progressively get better. The skill of the future is to be a generalist with some knowledge in many areas so that you can dictate what these AI systems will go do. You do not need to be the person on the computer doing the work. You will be the person guiding an army of software intelligence to do what you want. So in order to do that, we need to be a good delegator. The skill is delegation and knowing what tasks need to be done. And this is a tool to do that. So getting in the mental framework of delegation and leverage is, I think, going to be the sort of mental framework to be in. So when we want to talk about making income and leveraging and using this technology now, there are a few ways we can start to think about it. These are some examples that I've come up with, I think are pretty useful. Making income with Chat GPT, anything with writing. Anything with writing, we can start to think about it. A lot of people are actually paid to write, so writing, blogs, and SEO. So blogs have to be written with specific wording. And if you're not 100% completely involved with that niche, it's hard to know all the keywords. And there are tools called keyword searches and stuff like that. And maybe you may be familiar, but this is going to be a way to do it much faster, like significantly faster. You can either give it a bunch of SEO keywords that you already have, search engine optimization for those who don't know. You basically, you're trying to put words in there that people are searching for. And you can either give it words, or you can have it make the list of words for you and then say, hey, write an article about this process with these words. You can make money doing this. You can drive internet traffic to your business. Copywriting, this is for advertising. So I'm going to go on some actual examples of these, some real world examples we can look at. But of course, there are people who are paid right now to just do that. You write advertisements for, Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. There's also email marketing campaigns that have to be written. And so this tool can basically automate all of that. So that doesn't necessarily mean nobody will do those jobs. So it means that the person doing it could put out a significantly higher volume than people who are not using this tool. There's basically no fight between the person who uses this and the person who doesn't, because the person who uses it is going to be 10 times faster. And this exists now. So this is disrupting all of these industries. Assisting with legal documents. If you're a lawyer, if you're someone who deals with contracts, this is massive. I was just talking to my friend who's a lawyer, showing him this tool, and he was absolutely stunned at what it was producing. So if you have friends that are doing this, this is what I'm saying. It's like, even if you're not doing it and you could help other people, there's an opportunity to create value and make income there that potentially you could go and look at. So these are the kind of industries I would be looking at. Tests and quizzes. There are companies that actually write these right now and get paid to do it. Data organization, creating ebooks or PDFs. If you have your own business and you want to summarize some of the information, or maybe you want to create some lead generation, you want to put out an ebook to capture an audience. Maybe you want to write some stuff, but it takes a bit of time. This is going to save you. You can write those PDFs faster. You could do print on demand with Amazon. Amazon has books that you don't actually have to take the risk to print. Like, you can just have a virtual book, write it, and then put it on Amazon and sell it. There are, again, some ethical questions around where this writing is coming from in AI, and this is a big debate in the world. That is a different conversation, but these are ways that could be potentially leveraged for AI right off the bat, in my opinion. Creating t-shirts, mugs, etc. Redbubble. So that's a website where you can sell basically the same thing, print on demand. So there's some other ideas here. Assisting with podcast material. Hey, maybe you want to have a conversation. Maybe you have a guest that maybe you already have a podcast, but this guest is an expert in this area and you want to come up with some intelligent questions. Well, use the GPT to come up with your material. Assist with your YouTube scripts, find product ideas, help, prototyping a business idea, create slogans for companies writing the copy directly on their websites. Maybe not just for advertising, but the actual the landing pages selling the product. Apple, they have to write all the text next to their images, and someone does that. So those are different things. Virtual assistant, consulting with companies, educating them on ChatGPT. I think I already said that one. Translation for long form written content. So these two are pretty big. Translation is a big industry. People get paid a lot of money for this, especially for a lot of text. Translating from one language to the other. ChatGPT is really good at language, so it can translate better than Google Translate can in most scenarios. So it's very interesting for finding industries where you could, if you're looking for an extra way to make money there, you certainly could do that. You could translate. You could even translate videos. There are plugins that transcribe a video that's already on YouTube, saves it out in English or whatever, and then you just translate that text into another language. So those are different things you can think about. So these are some websites you could check out where this type of work might be happening. Upwork, Fiverr, freelance, stuff like that. So you guys might have heard of them already. But I think it's more interesting to actually think about the examples because, this kind of stuff, you're battling a game where a lot of people are already there. But you could take any of these ideas, go directly to a company and offer this service, or put up a website of your own in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, show some examples of what you can do with this tool along with another AI tool, sell it to another company, say, hey, here's our service, here's our product. You have a business operating within 3 days. And you can sell it to somebody and somebody will likely buy it because it does a great job. It does a really good job. So really interesting to think about. And we'll move on. So here are some business ideas. If you have any online business, you're going to be familiar with the concepts of advertising, SEO, stuff like that. You probably have some kind of fundamental with these things. If you don't, these are pretty useful concepts. So if you're ever interested in doing these things, it's really good to know how these things operate. But let's just look at some examples. So one of the things that we could do that is very common in online advertising is split testing. So we're split testing ads. So we're testing one ad and we're testing another ad against the same audience of people. Let's say we're on Facebook advertising. But the words that you write actually stop people and grab their attention. And some words work better than others. And usually what people are doing are split testing hundreds of ads. So maybe you have 10 at the same time, seeing which text works the best. So this is, of course, going to work with AI. We could come up with much more creative variations of text. So we could paste in something into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me a paraphrase of this ad copy and give me 10 paraphrases of this ad copy and make them all really, really different and creative, or make some more assertive, make some more attention grabbing, etc. So quick way to iterate, but still conveying the same message. The undertone, the lower message is still the same, just with different variations to get different people. Same thing, email responses here. These kind of emails, it's kind of gibberish here because it's AI generated picture, but that's the kind of things that we could automate very quickly. So here's an ad copy example. I type in Google best socks for winter. And the first example I get here on the bottom from Amazon.com, it's an ad, so it's sponsored post. And we see browse and discover thousands of products, read customer reviews, and find best sellers. Buy sports apparel equipment and more. Qualified orders over $35 shipping fee. So if you've done Google ads before, usually you have to put like 2 or 3 variations in here. So you're going to be familiar with like, okay, I got to come up with something. And usually people just write something. But now we have this great tool, so we can actually take that and make it more creative. So here's a fake image here of a sock, but we basically I copied this here. So I copied this. I said paraphrase this and make it more creative. And this, I think it is actually better than the original. Find the perfect product for you among thousands of options, all with the helpful customer reviews to guide you. From sports apparel and equipment to latest must-have items, Our selection has it all. Plus, orders over 35 for free shipping. Start browsing and discover all that we have to offer. Sounds really great. Might be a little bit too long for that tiny little Google box. So we could say, hey, make that a little bit shorter, but still keep that more creative aspect. And maybe it will do a good job of keeping maybe there's a character range that we have to stay within. So we could give it that parameter if we need to as well. But interesting to think about and seeing how we can iterate on something that exists in a professional sense here. So this is just a part 2 to SEO. What more can we think about in relation to business? So here's an example about maybe a potential blog post. Maybe we have a website that sells socks with our current example here, and we want to drive traffic that we don't have to pay for. We don't want to pay ads all the time for traffic. So a lot of times what people do is they're leveraging SEO or some kind of blog, just talking about products. But in those informational blogs, we have those keywords. So I said, write a 2-paragraph essay about socks, including the best SEO terms. So I don't even know what the best SEO terms for this product are. Maybe there are websites so you can cross-reference and double check to make sure that we're working in the right direction here. So maybe you already have your list and you could just paste it in. But if you don't, just say, hey, best SEO terms, we got something real quick. Socks are an essential piece of clothing that everyone wears on a daily basis. They come in a variety of styles, materials, from classic cotton to moisture-wicking synthetic fabrics. So moisture-wicking is probably a keyword. These are definitely has some in here. Athletic socks, moisture wicking for exercise, well, thicker socks. So those are very specific wording that are pretty great. So again, you can either give it a list you already have or do this, and it's going to do a good job. So if you do operate your own business or you're dealing with people, maybe you're a freelancer, an artist, you might be any number of people. Whenever you have to deal with a contract, usually costs kind of a lot of money to make contracts, and sometimes there are some templates out there. But if you already have one, you could modify it in an existing contract or paraphrase another contract so it kind of keeps the meaning, but doesn't keep the wording. So there's no copyright on that contract. There's different things you can do with this, but of course, if you have somebody that can check it over and you're doing dealing with a large sum of transaction, then maybe you still don't want to pay to someone to check it over. But, I have to deal with contracts quite often, and I've had to write my own contracts and take pieces and templates and stuff like that. This is an awesome tool for doing this. So I deal with digital media a lot. So here let's say I want to license a digital media to a buyer. So the buyer doesn't get the intellectual property of this, let's say, video clip, but they can use it in a project. So that's what I said. Write me a 2-paragraph contract. That would probably make it longer, but licensing digital media to a buyer. The buyer does not get the intellectual property. Only the right to use in a project. They can only use in the movie, the walking, and nothing else. So this did a pretty good job. Subject to the terms and condition, licensor hereby grants buyer to a non-exclusive, non-transferable license to digital media solely for the purpose of incorporating into the film entitled The Walking. Buyer shall have no right to use it for any other purpose or sub-license signed to any third party. Intellectual property rights, copyright and trademarks remain the sole property of the licensor. So this is correct. And I actually have a contract on hand that's very similar, written by lawyers, and it's basically identical. So this is really, really great and good to know about in terms of the capability for this to work in a business contract sense. So, of course, double check, and this is not legal advice or anything like that, but it is a useful tool to have in the arsenal. So 2 more quick e-commerce business examples we have here. Business part 4, correcting grammar to product review. Sometimes if you're dealing with online products, you have a lot of reviews that you get, and maybe the grammar's not very good, or hey, maybe you're writing your own email and maybe you want to, perfect that grammar a little bit. So this technique, you can put in Chat GPT and say, hey, rewrite this better, and you can try this out on your own. Just type something with not that great of grammar, or say, hey, make it more visual, make it longer. So I've been doing this to correct grammar and stuff like that. Great for emails as well. There are plugins that are coming out already. Chat GPT Writer. If you go to Google Chrome store and you search for this, there are some, intelligent tools that connect to Chat GPT and can kind of read the context of the conversation and respond really quickly. So maybe you're on the fly, you don't want to write these really long emails and someone's asking for coffee or whatever, and you say, hey, I'm busy this week, but you have to write this email. If you're getting 1,000 emails a day, that's a lot of work to do. So we can start to paste it in and say, hey, I want this response to this. Keep it formal or keep it informal because you know the person better or whatever. So again, save time, leverage, use these tools, especially for that. So you can check out that tool if you Google it, if this is a problem that you have, or you can just paste in someone's email as they come and test it out, or correct your own writing.